Hi, so in this video I'm going to be showing how to make a really great pot of bone broth. And I have all the ingredients kind of assembled here, and we'll walk through this sort of step by step the way that I do it when I'm in my kitchen at home. You can buy a lot of great bone broths through the mail. There's a lot of good companies out there, but still making your own and learning to do it really well is going to be the cheapest and most therapeutic way to make bone broth. Certainly homemade bone broth has the most therapeutic value and gut healing properties for the gut. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to be working with a whole chicken today that I've actually cut up and placed in my stock pot here, which you can kind of see. Just bringing this around. You definitely want a lot of chicken in there, and usually people question how far up should the water go. If you can kind of see here, I've got it literally just covering kind of the top of my whole chicken that I've got cut up and put in the pot. Next, what I do is I'll add a bunch of just my veggies, leftover kind of ends of the veggies are great. I'll show you up close kind of what I've got in here. I've got ends of Brussels sprouts, some yellow squash, a little bit of onion, a little bit of celery, and then at the bottom I've got some baby carrots. And so I'm just going to literally place these in my stock pot to add some vegetable flavor to the bone broth. Like so. And you definitely want the veggies to also be covered by the water once they go in. So you just kind of push them down in there. After that, I'm going to add a couple of cloves of garlic, which I've mashed up with a fork, just for flavor again. A small handful of peppercorns. I've got 6 little peppercorns right here that I'm going to put in. A bay leaf. And then right here, I've got a bunch of fresh herbs that I put in a cheesecloth that I am going to add to the pot. This just adds a little bit more flavor. I've got some sage, some rosemary, some thyme in here. And I just put them in the cheesecloth because it's a little easier to remove them when the cooking is done. So what I do is I just kind of tie this back up like so. Make it a little packet. And kind of like a little herb bundle here, and then that just goes right in the pot. Again, kind of push it down in there. And then the last critical ingredient is going to be raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. And the brand really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that the apple cider vinegar is raw, unfiltered, and organic if possible. I usually just eyeball this when I'm putting it in my pot, but for the purposes today, I'll just measure out about a 1/4 cup. This is a pretty big stock pot. And what the apple cider vinegar does is it leaches out the minerals in the bones of the chicken that we're using here to make the broth. After all this is done, I'm going to take the pot and put it in my Instant Pot. This works great if you have a crock pot, would work just as well. The Instant Pot does a number of different things, but for the purposes of today, I'm going to kind of show you, if you're using an Instant Pot, how you would make the broth. So the handle goes on. There's a sealing, there's a venting for this one. I always move it to sealing. And then for bone broth, there's a bunch of different settings. The one we're going to be working with today is the soup setting. So I click soup, it shows 30 minutes. I'm actually going to set it for the highest soup setting, which in this case is 120 minutes. And then once it's on 120, just let it go and it'll start cooking the bone broth. So really fast, efficient way to make bone broth. It can be done in 2 hours with an Instant Pot, which is always awesome. So when this is done, what I typically do, and I'll show this in a follow-up video to today's video, I'm going to actually strain it into, I like these large mason jars because they can keep really well in the fridge. And I just use a simple metal sieve when I do that. So when this is all done cooking, I'll bring it over to the sink, put the sieve over the top of the jar, kind of try to hold it in place, and then I'll literally take that whole pot out and strain it through the wire mesh sieve, which catches any of the herbs or pieces of bone that might have cooked off, just anything that you don't really want to have in the broth when you go to drink it. And so once that's done, this will keep in the fridge for about a week. If it has a nice fat seal at the top, which it should if it's good quality bone broth, you can keep it even longer so long as that seal is intact. Another thing to note with bone broth is that if it is very good quality, it will be kind of gelatinous once it's been sitting in the fridge for a couple hours and it's cooled down. Not to worry with that. If you pour it out to go and reheat it and drink it or use it later, it will actually turn liquid again, but just that gelatinous type of texture coming out of the mason jar is a really good sign that you've got great bone broth. You can drink it with a little bit of sea salt added to bring the flavor out. Just have my sea salt right here. I just use real salt, but any kind of pink colored salt, Himalayan sea salt is another great option. It's just great to add to the bone broth to bring out the flavor. It also works really great as a soup stock. So I hope you've enjoyed this video showing you how I make bone broth. It's actually quite simple. Could take you a couple tries, but once you get the knack of it, it's going to be well worth your time in making. Making so much of it freezes great, and then you can use it at home as a gut healing food and a very nourishing base to your soups in the winter.